Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Our today's topic is on the lecture Bacterial Growth Curve. So beginning with the introduction first, let me introduce bacterial growth. So bacterial growth is the asexual reproduction or the cell division of the bacterium into the two daughter cells in a process that we know binary fission. Providing no mutational events occur, the resulting daughters are genetically identical to the original cells, and hence local doubling of the bacterial population occurs during this bacterial growth process. So bacteria's growth can be take place by binary fission, and during so many phases happens during that different event take place that is known as your bacterial growth curve, in which the bacterial growth is the increase in numbers occurs of the cells and not the cell size, and one cell becomes the colony of millions of the cells. So bacterial growth is regulated by your nutritional environment, and when suitable environment is there, that time bacterium is incubated, its growth lead to the increase in the number of the cells, which allows a definite course. It related with your generation time. So time generation requires when one cell is divided into two, and your first generation, and then these cells are again divided into four daughter cells. This is the second generation. So this requires your generation time required for a cell to divide oblique for population to double. It is your average of the bacteria is average bacterial time for doubling itself is mainly rely between 1 to 3 hours, and for E. coli generation time is 20 minutes. Means 20 generations takes your 7 hours. One cell becomes 1 million cells. It means that for E. coli, for obtaining a 1 million cell, there is needs for 20 generation, which takes your 70 hours, and one cell becomes the parent of a millions of the cell. Okay, now let's discuss about the principle of the bacterial growth. Okay, cell growth occurs by binary fission, and as we know in microbiology, growth is defined as an increase in the number of the cells. So microbial cells have a finite lifespan, and a species is maintained only as a result of continued growth of its population. So there are many reasons why understanding how microbial cells grow is important. For example, many practical situations calls for the control of microbial growth, in particular bacterial growth. Knowledge of how microbial population can rapidly expand is usually for designing method to control the microbial growth, and whether the method are used to treat a life-threatening infectious disease or simply to disinfect a surface. So knowledge of the events surrounding the bacterial growth also allows us to see how these processes are related to the cell division in higher organisms. So principle of the bacterial growth mainly depends on a simple formula, that is your NT is equals to NT naught into 2 to the power n. Here the NT means the number of the cells in the population, and naught is the original number of the cells in the population, and small n represents your number of division. For example, if we take here n naught, suppose your occurs your 10 cells in the original population. Suppose there is a petri dish and it contains some 10 colonies, 10 microbes. So that will represent your original population, means at the initiation time which number of cells you are taking. So we are taking 10 numbers of the cells for the original, and will be your number of generation, means that is 4 hours assuming 20 minutes generation time. So we could apply the formula NT is equals to 10 into 10 to the power 12, where 12 represents your generation time, small n. On calculation, the final population we get after the 4 hour is 40,960. Means this will be your final population. Means that I have told you in your previous slide, your one cell becomes 1 million cells. So after 4 hours, after 20 generations, your final population will be 40,960 out of 10 cells. So this is the formula how you can represent the growth of a bacterial cell, how you count the colonies of the cell, and how it represents the growth of the bacteria occurs in limited time. So here is a common diagram for bacterial division. The first represents the cell elongation, and DNA is replicated. It represents your cell wall, the plasma membrane, the DNA nuclear. Cell wall and plasma membrane begins to invert, means a constriction occurs, a septum cross wall forms completely around the divided DNA. In a growing rod-shaped cells, elongation continues until this cell division into the new cells occurs. This whole process is known as binary fusion. And binary fusion to express the fact that the two cells have arisen from one. So in a growing culture of a rod bacterium, such as here we are taking the example of Escherichia coli, cells elongate to approximately twice their original length and then forms a partition that constrict these cells into two daughter cells. This partition is called the septum. This partition is called the septum and results from the inward growth of the cytoplasmic membrane and cell wall from opposing direction. Septum formation continues until the daughter cells are pinched into two halves. So there are variations in the general pattern. In some bacteria, such as your Bacillus subtilis, a septum forms without cell wall constriction, while in your budding bacterium, Colobacter, and constriction occurs but no septum is formed. But in all cases, when one cell eventually separates to form the two cells, this will known as we can say the one generation has occurred, and the time required for this process is called as the generation time. Here the number of generation is 1 when the one cell divided into 2 and then the 2 cells again divided into 4 daughter cells. This is known as your number of generation and number of cells as per generation. So here the diagram shows the complete generation of how the binary fusion occurs and how one cell becomes the parent of millions of the cells. So here is a standard growth curve of a bacterial cell that represent how the growth of a bacteria occurs. First stage knows your lag phase, next stage is your exponential phase, third stage is your stationary phase, and last one is your death phase. Eventually, the initial stage where the inoculation has done, few live cells are inoculated in the fresh media. Then the red color represents many live cells, means the growth has been occurred exponentially. Later on stationary phase, there is you will be able to see there is a small lining of a gray color showing the number of dead cells, and red color shows the number of live cells. And later on at the death phase, both the cells, your dead cells and live cells, are there in equal forms, and dead cells even are more. So I'm talking about the first phase, standard growth curve, the lag phase. Okay, lag phase takes your 1 to 4 hours. for generation for adapting to a new environment, making a new enzyme in response to new medium. The length of a lag phase depends upon which type of bacteria or which type of inoculum we are using. Second, it depends upon the better the media, shorter the lag phase. Means if the media is incorporated with a heavy amount of nutrients, lots of amounts of nutrients, so that bacteria can easily get up and get easily adapted, so lag phase will take short time. Third, it depends upon the phase of the culture from which the inoculation is taken. Means your inoculation has you have been taken from which phase. Either you have taken from the lag phase or death phase or exponential phase. That depends upon your stage of the inoculation. Next, it also the length of the phase also depends upon the size or volume of the inoculum. Means if you are taking the inoculation of higher quantity or in higher amount, the concentration of the number of live cells will be more, and therefore more generation will occur, more growth will be occur in less time. And if you are taking the volume in less quantity, so less number of cells will be incorporated. Next is your environmental factor like temperature. Means what type of temperature you are providing for the culture media in order to grow the bacteria to adapt to the new environment and go for the exponential phase. So bacteria adapt themselves to growth condition in this phase, and it is the period where the individual bacteria are maturing and not yet able to divide. During the lag phase, the bacterial growth cycle, synthesis of RNA, enzymes and other molecules occurs. And this is very important, that what happens during the lag phase. Firstly, they adapt themselves, they mature themselves, but they do not divide. And yes, during this phase, bacterial growth cycle occurs, synthesis of RNA occurs, enzymes occurs and other molecules occurs. Length of this phase depends on, as I told you, bacterial sepsis, culture media, environment factors and so many things that have been discussed here. So when a microbial culture is inoculated in a fresh media, growth is usually begins only after a period of time that is called your lag phase. This interval may be brief or extended, depends upon the history of the inoculum and the growth of the condition. If an exponentially growing culture is transferred into the same media under the same condition of the growth, means the new media is also provided with the same temperature, aeration and the like, all the environment is given to same situation as per the where you have taken the inoculant, then there is no lag phase and exponential growth begins immediately. This is the difference. This depends on how you have taken from from which stage you have taken your inoculum. The growth curve depends to that very much on. So however, if the inoculum is taken from, we can say you take your inoculum from an old or stationary culture and transferred it into the same media, then there is usually a lag even if all the cells in the inoculum are alive. This is because the cells are depleted of various essential constituents and time is required for their biosynthesis. So bacteria, as I told, they adapt themselves. So this is what happens in the lag phase of a bacterial growth curve. Next phase comes your logarithmic phase, we also known as log phase. Here this exponential growth phase is also known as log phase. As the graph shows, the first the lag phase is horizontal in line, means no such growth is occur. Bacteria just adapt themselves, they expand themselves, they eat the nutrients, they grow to the environment but do not divide. Division occurs only when it goes to exponential condition, when the bacteria is adapted enough has been larger enough in size, that is ready for the division. Now comes your stage exponential growth phase, or we can say your log phase. Okay, logarithmic exponential phase. In logarithmic phase, the bacterial cell starts dividing and their number increased by geometric progression with time. Geometric progression, here I told you about, this is known as your geometric progression. So during this period, bacteria have high rate of metabolism. Bacteria are more sensitive to antibiotic and radiation during this period. So in logarithmic phase, in exponential phase, during exponential phase, the growth, each cell divides to form two cells, each of which also divides to form two more cells, and so on for a brief or extended period depending on the availability of resources and other factors, and the pattern known as your geometric progression pattern. Cells in exponential growth are typically in their healthiest state and hence are most desirable for studies of their enzymes or other cell components. So rate of exponential growth vary greatly. The rate of exponential growth is influenced by your environmental conditions, such as your temperature, composition of the culture media, as well as by genetic material also, characteristics of the organism itself. In general, if we talk about prokaryotes, grow faster than the eukaryotic microorganisms, and small eukaryotes grow faster than the larger ones. So this should remind us how of the previously discussed concept of the surface to the volume ratio. Recall that small cells have the increased capacity of nutrient and waste exchange compared with larger cells, and this metabolic advantage can greatly affect their growth and other properties. So previously we have discussed about your lag phase, in which the graph is like slant line, a horizontal line. Then comes your exponential phase, your log phase, where the graph arises slantly. So lag phase also ensures when the inoculum consists of cells that have been damaged or by significant temperature shaped radiation of the time required for the cell to repair the damage. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you about lag phase. Lag phase is also observed when a microbial population is transferred from a rich culture medium to a poorer one. For example, from a complete compliment of the enzymes for the synthesis complex medium to the defined medium. To grow in any culture media, the cells must have a complete complement of the enzyme for the synthesis of essential metabolites not present in the medium. Hence, upon transferring to a medium where essential metabolites must be biosynthesized, time is needed for the production for new enzyme, and that will carry out these reactions in the lag phase. So I told you about how the phase of the culture of the inoculum depends for the inoculation into the new bacteria, how the lag phase differ. Lag phase time differs for different types of inoculum taken from which type of phase. So that after that comes your log phase. I told you about log phase. Next stage is your stationary phase. The stationary phase comes upon when you crosses your lag phase, then log phase, and then comes your stationary phase, a horizontal line. So stationary phase represents the nutrients becoming limiting or waste products becoming toxic. Here the death rate becomes equals to the division rate, and in stationary phase, after some time, a stage comes when the rate of multiplication and death becomes almost equal, and it may be due to the depletion of the nutrients and the accumulation of the toxic products and sporulation may occur during this stage. So in stationary phase, there is no net increase or decrease in the cell number, thus the growth of the population is almost near to the zero. Although the population may not grow during the stationary phase, many cells functions can continue, including your energy metabolism and biosynthetic process. Some cells may even divide during the stationary phase, but no net increase in the cell number occurs, and this is because some cells in the population grow whereas other dies, and the two processes balance each other out, and this phenomena is called as the cryptic growth. Means stationary phase is also known as your cryptic growth. So stationary phase is due to a growth limiting factor. This is most depletion of nutrients and formation of inhibitory products such as toxic metabolites, means organic acid. An awkward but unfortunately widespread explanation is that stationary phase results in the situation in which growth rate and death rate have the same value, and death cells as a function of the time is rather unpredictable and very difficult to explain. Now, another not really logical explanation of the stationary phase is that there isn't anymore enough space for the cell. This is also some point related to the stationary phase. However, under the microscope you will see that there is still plenty of water between the cells, and only in the agar colony with densely packed cells spaced in is obviously limited. So this is also one of the reasons for depletion of the cells, why the growth retarded to a stationary phase. So such an explanation would not be in accordance with the observed substrate depletion, and also could never explain the rather smooth horizontal linear part of the curve during the stationary phase. Means stationary phase is curve lies horizontally with the surface, and next it started decline. When the decline phase of the growth occurs, this growth is known as your death or decline phase. So in decline phase, the death exceeds the division, and during this phase population decreases due to the death of the cells, and the factors responsible is your nutritional exhaustion and your toxic accumulation and autolysin enzyme. So last phase of your growth cell is your death phase. So let me tell you, if you incubation is continuous after a population reaches to the stationary phase, the cells may remain alive and continue to metabolize, but they will eventually die. When this occurs, the population enters the death phase of the growth cell. In some cases, death is accompanied by your actual cell lysis, and it indicates that the death phase of the growth cycle is also exponential function. So typically, however, the rate of the cell death is much slower than the rate of exponential growth. The phase of the bacterial growth are a reflection of the events in the population of the cells, not in the individual cells. Thus, the term lag phase, exponential phase, stationary phase, and death phase have no meaning with respect to individual cells, but only to cell population. So, growth of an individual cells is a necessary prerequisite for population growth, but it is population growth that is most relevant to the ecology of the microorganism, because measurable microbial activity requires microbial population, not just an individual microbial cell. So the death or decline phase, bacteria run out of the nutrient and die. All number of the cells remain constant, and the decline phase is brought by exhaustion of the I told you, nutrition, your accumulation of the toxic products, autolysis of the enzyme, and sometimes a small number of survivors may persist for months even after the death of the majority of the cells, and these few surviving cells probably grow to expense of the nutrients released. Next is your measuring growth. Means once you have inoculated your inoculum into the new media, then how can you measure the growth of the bacteria? There are certain patterns. Measurement of a microbial growth, the population growth is measured by tracking changes in the number of the cells or changes in the level of the some cellular components. The latter could be protein, nucleic acid, or dry weight of the cell themselves. We consider here some of the common measures of the cell growth is your dilution plating, your turbidity analysis using spectrophotometry, and your direct count with hemocytometer, and last one is your optical detection such as your Coulter counter. Here the first one is your microscopic count. Okay, this is the most common total count method. Microscopic, a total count of a microbial number can be achieved using a microscope to observe and enumerate the cells present in the culture or natural sample, and this method is simple but the result can be unreliable. So here the diagram is showing some sample is added here, and there it is covered with the grid cover slip. Now within an underscope, under the microscopic observation is seen. All cells are counted in the range squares known as 16 small squares, 12 cells. So this is the example of how you go for the microscopic count, and it is the most common total count method. In the microscopic count can be done on either samples dried on the slide or samples in the liquid. If dried samples can be stained to increase the contrast between the cells and their background. With liquid samples, especially designed counting chambers are used, and in such a counting chambers, a grid with a square of known area is marked on the surface of a glass slide. So glass slide is marked with a grid. Here you can able to see how the grid is divided. Squares is divided into small grids. When the cover slip is placed on the chamber, here this is the chamber, each square on the grid has a precisely measured volume. The number of the cells per unit area of a grid can be counted under the microscope, giving a measure of the number of the cells per small chamber volume. The number of the cells per milliliter of the suspension is calculated by employing the conversion factor based on the volume of the chamber sample. So this is the most simple technique of microscopic count. This is your slide, and when you place the cover slip, it is again divided into small squares, and this small squares is again subdivided into small grids. This is the zoom visualization, and you can easily able to see how it will be helpful for you. When you see under the microscope, you will be able to see and able to count the number of growth of the cell per square per grid. Next comes your measuring bacterial growth by serial dilution. Okay, serial dilution I have told you many times in our previous lectures that I have been taken on the microbial industrial microbial. Direct measurement of microbial growth. Here comes your plate count performed serial dilution. Okay, by serial dilution you can go for again bacterial growth count method, but for that You have to take your inoculum, you have to dilute it, take original inoculum of 1 ml, dilute it to 1:10 ratio, means 9 ml broth in each tube you have to take. Then again taking from 1 ml from this dilution to again 9 ml broth. Now the ratio becomes 1:100. Now from again this tube you have to again take your inoculum 1 ml and again redilute it to 1:1000. Then again this is known as your serial dilution. When dilution rate becomes too large, then you can pour your plate by 2 methods. Inoculate Petri plates from serial dilution by 2 methods. First is your spread plate method, next is your pour plate method. And keep it for the incubation. After incubation, count the colonies on the plate that have 25 to 250 colonies CFU. Okay, I'm taking the first one as your spread plate method. Okay, here is your spread plate method. You have to inoculating in spread plate method, you have to pour the media first in that, inoculating the plate containing solid media. Spread the inoculum over the surface evenly by your L spreader, and then colonies grow only on the surface of the medium. After the incubation period, you will be able to see the number of the colonies grown on the surface of the medium. So in the spread plate method, a volume of usually 0.1 ml or less of an approximately dilution culture is spread over the surface of an agar plate using a sterile glass spreader. The plate is then incubated until the colonies appears and the number of colonies is counted. The surface of the plate must not be too moist because the added liquid must soak in so the cells remain stationary. And volumes greater than about 0.1 ml are avoided in this method because the excess liquid does not soak in the media and may cause the colonies to coalesce as they form, making them difficult to count under the microscope. Next method is your pour plate method. In the pour plate method, a known volume of less concentration of culture is pipetted in the sterile Petri plate, and then the melted agar media is tempered to just about gelling temperature, is then added and mixed well by gently swirling the plate on the bench top. Here you have to first pour the inoculum, then pour the media, and then gently swirl in clock and anti-clockwise direction. Because the sample is mixed with the molten agar media, a larger volume can be used than with the spread plate. However, with this method, the organism to be counted must be able to withstand brief exposure to the temperature of molten agar. Here colonies form throughout the medium and not just on the agar surface as in the spread plate method. The plate must therefore be examined closely to make sure all colonies are counted. And if the pour plate method is used to enumerate cells from the natural sample, another problem may arise that any debris in the sample must be distinguishable from actual bacterial colonies, or count will be erroneous. So these were the methods: pour plate method, split plate method by serial dilution. Next technique is your electronic counter. Here the diagram shows the electronic counter. Such a counter, microbial suspension is forced through a small hole or orifice. This is and then movement of the microbe through the orifice impact the electric current that flows through the orifice. There is a disadvantage of this, that it cannot distinguish the living form and dead cells. It is a quick and easy method to use for counting and useful for large microorganisms and blood cells, but not for the prokaryotes. So electronic counter, what happens, the cell is poured from the the sample is in the liquid form is poured in a small tube. This is your bacterial cell, this is your tube, and this is your small orifice from which there is an electric detector is present here, that after passing any of the cell, it detect it and easily able to count it and show you digitally how in which quantity the bacterial cells are present, but it is not able to distinguish between your live cell and dead cell. Next is your turbidity metric method. Turbidity metric method is, during exponential growth, all cellular components increase in portion to the increase in cell number. Thus, instead of measuring changes in the cell number over time, one could instead measure the increase in protein, DNA, or dry weight or culture as a barometer of the growth. However, since cells are actual objects instead of dissolved substances, cells scatter light, and a rapid and quite useful method of estimating the cell number based on this property of turbidity. A suspension of a cell looks cloudy to eye because cells scatter light passing through the suspension. This is the most important point, how turbidity method acts in counting the cells, in estimating the growth. The more cells that are present, the more light is scattered, and hence the more turbid the suspension will look by your eyes. What is actually accessed in the turbidity metric measurement is total cell mass. However, because cell mass is proportional to the cell number, turbidity can be used as a measure of cell number, can also be used to follow an increase in the cell numbers of a growing culture. So this turbidity method is also important, but it will not give you the exact number of the cell, but it will show you the cell mass. I hope you have understood all the points of a bacterial growth and how you can measure the growth by different techniques. For more information regarding this, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and yes, do subscribe our channel www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself. Thank you.